right now.
And what you are watching is a, let's see, what should we call this? We can call this the outtakes of A Cup of Joe. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you get to see more than if you're listening on Blog Talk. So it's gonna
Hello, everybody. Please welcome A Cup of Joe.
All right, so what you're watching now is Joe being Have. Again, remember last week we did this. I was Have for a while. So what's going to happen here is we're not going to actually open the show until the actual show opens up, but this is like that outtakes and bloopers that you get when you sneak in early and you get to watch the set being set up or whatnot. So you're sitting here for 3 minutes and 16 seconds with me just talking. And I'm sitting here with, see, 3 minutes till showtime. That's the little lady who tells us when the show actually starts.
It's the same lady that says how many seconds before the bomb goes off.
She tells you everything, man. This is the lady who knows. You know, when they talk about they, she's part of they. And they say, you know what they say? She's one of they.
She's one of they.
She's one of them. Yeah, she knows. She knows all that stuff that we only hear about. And we got to decide, is it real or is it not? Because there's a good day and a bad day. And the bad day puts out bad information, and a good day, well,
exactly.
They do the good stuff.
Good or bad, or she's long term.
That's
she
it.
Seems to be very stable.
So far, she has guided us okay so far.
Very consistent.
Through some rocky waters, but for the most part, we got through it. Now we have our screener, Becca. Becca is here, and we're now 2 minutes and 17 seconds away from another Cup of Joe getting started. See, look at that. She's reliable. You can count on her. I wish I knew her name.
2 minutes to ignition.
Yeah, exactly. You ever seen the Apollo rockets get ready to take off, and they got this big old tower up there, and this giant rocket that's as big as the Statue of Liberty, and all of a sudden, steam and fire starts rumbling away. Yeah. And that's what's going on right now. It's like, just picture us as this giant rocket getting ready to take off, and it's all getting loud, rumbling, and lights are going off, and all this crazy stuff is happening, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a show. It's going to go live in 5, 4, 3.
Wow.
Here we go. It's pretty cool. You'll see.
That's earth moving.
It is earth moving. Everything we do is earth moving.
They say the best way to avoid a ticket is to start coughing.
That's what I say. I totally agree. They told me, and I told you, and now we're all saying it. Here we go. T minus 1 minute, folks. It's about to get exciting around here. Oh, geez. Now he's
That's
done
how you do it.
Now he's done it. Oh, boy. Social distancing is not going to work here.
You got it.
No. We got the sage here. We're good. Where's our sage? I saw you come in with it. Yeah, that could do it too. That could do it too.
One of my doctors, I said the only time I cough when I'm smoking marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
He said that's normal.
Smoking too much of it or not enough, or the wrong kind or the right kind too much, or
there's the expansion.
There's all these things. Held it in too long, didn't hold it in long enough. Every which way, everything can go.
There's the outer days.
Here we go. We're coming up on it. We're starting to see the big thunder.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
I got an opening song here.
Oh yeah.
So this song was actually written for me about my case when I was going. It's called "The Guilty Man." It's the name of the song.
Oh wow.
Because the jury found me guilty before I overturned it.
Right.
So we're talking about me fighting the government and healing people and all of that.
That's like our Bell song, the one that Crystal Gill wrote. So is there audio right now?
Yeah, we're live. I just played. So there's trees. The blog talk is what people
Right, and then their music.
they're hearing that.
But YouTube.
YouTube's hearing it all. So the YouTube people get the whole picture.
I'm practicing my cough when I have to get pulled around.
That's it. That's good. That's good. Get that wired in here.
No, I'm still adjusting actually to the moisture here from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
So I lived out there pretty much all my life. Moved here a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Started from the bottom. Now
And
we're
moisture heat out here.
It does change, yes. From warm, cool, wet,
Oh yeah.
hot, dry. Really, really dynamic area.
Yeah.
The whole valley. So you should go down to Central Michigan.
Yeah.
So people like. Pretty about it. Kind of keep for that.
Maybe this weekend we can go down there.
Yeah. Going to be excited. How long is the show?
The show is in.
Okay.
And then we're gonna have dinner afterwards.
Okay.
My wife's gonna come out.
This is too strong. Cough. It's just, Shane said it's pure. Yeah.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is a little bit after 5 o'clock on a Wednesday, March 25th, 2020. And you are here from the comfort of your own home, more than likely. Hopefully you're safe and sound and happy and well and spending some good time with those that you love. Maybe you're spending some time with those that you don't like so much and you're getting to know again or finding a way through it. But this is the show that we call A Cup of Joe, and I encourage every one of you to go get yourself a cup of Joe, pour it in a cup, and sit back and relax and spend a little time with us. Today, I have a special guest with me, and it's Charles Vargas, and he was on the show a few weeks back from another place, and today he's sitting there with me. We're going to talk a lot about the Walk for Change, and we're going to talk about working together. We're going to talk about the New People's chapter of the Human System International. We're going to talk about the things that we can do together and separately to make change in the world. You know, I don't know how many times people come to me and they say, I want to help. And it stays there. Or, you know what the best one is when they say, I want to help, and I tried. And by tried, I mean I sent an email somewhere or I left a message.
Or I called.
Or I called you, and you didn't give me something to help. And meanwhile, you know, there's 4 of us doing the work and 100 that say they want to help and 7 billion that are out there. Some of them need help, some want to help, some are growing the crops that we need to eat. There's all places that we're all at.
And then the legitimate people that really want to contribute. So
Yeah.
There's got to be a way for those people to.
Well, this show is reaching to you. So out to the universe, we're reaching out to those real people, the ones that really want to make a difference in the world. And we want to create a place and an environment where that can happen. So
To all our relations.
to all our
There
relations,
you go.
those we know and those we don't,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, to everybody. You know, this guy here is representing People's Chapter, man. Who gets more involved in that? You know, I'm the headquarters chapter, the head of the headquarters chapter, which means we're the guys that kind of started it. We're kind of leading the way on some level, and some ways we follow it. We were the ones that kind of got it started. So we got the clubhouse that's the headquarters clubhouse.
Yes.
But we got chapters that are local, that we have chapters that are regional, and then we have some chapters that are unique to a community or a group of people. We have a children's chapter that has functioned in some ways, and we now have a people chapter. And the purpose of the People's Chapter was because when we're moving along, you know, we're 10 years into being this 501c3, but a couple of years ago, I started working with some indigenous people, some native folks, some Indians, as they called themselves, and we were taking on some causes that were specific to these people. And you know, if you know the history of of these here United States realized that when the settlers came over here, there was already some folks here. And turns out we've had some issues, and those issues have been dealt with in some less than admirable ways. That there's been all kinds of consequences for a lot of different people, generations. And through it all, here we are today. You know, me, I didn't have anything to do with any of those things, but I want to help
Nor did I.
resolve the problems that exist.
Well,
And so,
we do suffer a little bit, but we suffer the sufferings that are.
not that kind of suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in a spot now where all we can
Except
do.
for the coronavirus now, that's a little different. It's
Well,
kind of like the smallpox.
Could be. Who knows? There's certainly big mysteries out there. But the bottom line is, and this is the part that the human solution is today and always has been about. And look at the name that we chose, the human solution. Okay. So all of these problems that we talk about,
Yeah.
they're a point in time, a point on the planet, a point out here. But they identify is that there needs to be a solution for it. Now, if you look at the media, you listen to social networking, the news, you listen to whatever your source of information is, what do we hear so much about? The problem with this and the problem with that. And, oh my gosh, watch out for this and be afraid of that, this and that.
There's discussion and very little action to address them.
Who talks about what we can do about it? Some, now and again.
You know, we're paralleling because we're 501c3 for almost about 15 years or longer. And it's the same purpose.
Right.
We formed it to address the issues that needed action. And it's for all the same reasons, the civil rights, the representation,
Human rights,
protect the medicine plants.
Right.
And it goes on and on and on. So that we, even as you establish yourself over a period of time, you get a good picture of where reality is at and where these underserved areas are. And you're hitting right on the head, the veterans, the American issues, which are everyone's issues. But the way we look at it is it's a shared history that we all cheated from.
Yeah.
So we're all disadvantaged and not really having an accurate picture of what the real historical, ancient world history of our continent is.
And the magic of all of this.
Yeah.
The magic of all of this is here we are today. And who can make the difference? Who can change it? Oh yeah, us.
Right.
We can make all the difference in the world. All we have to do is figure it out. It's a little puzzle.
Also, there's not just the negative things in history. There's all the good things, like the medicine plants. So today, with technology, with unifying, with joining together to address some of these issues, we can share that information now. And it's really a global, I mean, when we look at these medicine plants.
Whether we like it, it's definitely a global situation. And so I want to kind of take a step back. First of all, this is A Cup of Joe. We're a podcast. We're broadcasting podcasts out there on Blog Talk Radio. We're on YouTube, and we're also streaming live on Facebook. And I would love to have you join the conversation. And today, as most of the time, we have Becca screening, and be gentle on Becca. She's going through a rough patch right now. She's hurting, and we got to be there for her. And so be a good and kind listener. If you want to call in and talk, pick up your phone and dial 646-929-2495 and let me know that you got something to say. Now, if we're going along and we're talking, and one of us or both of us going to say something that you go, hey, wait a minute, I got something I want to say about that. Just hang and call back, and then we'll be able to put you in the queue. George Martirano is going to be calling in maybe about 5:45, and he's going to be telling us a story about when he was locked up and the sickness that had gotten into prison when he was there. And for those of you who don't know, George was locked up for pot for 32 plus years in federal prison. And he got out a few years back. Now, Craig Cecil, and I want to show you something here. So the Human Solution International is a 501c3 federally recognized nonprofit organization. We believe that no one should ever be put into jail or prison for a crime. And we support a number of people that are locked up. And right now, you can see this guy, Craig Cecil. Craig usually calls into the show, And I just want everybody to understand that if you're stuck at home and you want to help out, if you could look at the information on the bottom right side of this poster, this is the information to contact Craig. And he is currently serving a life sentence in Terre Haute, Indiana. And he may be able to join us today. I don't know. He didn't call in last week. I haven't heard from him all week long, which means he's possibly likely on lockdown. And he may not have access. But as a nonprofit human rights group, part of what we do is we support prisoners and we support defendants who are currently fighting a case. And Craig has been a friend of our organization, our show, for almost 7 years now. And he calls in every week and he shares his thoughts and ideas. And you know, the thing that Craig always does, this is a guy who's serving life in prison right now, like has no way to get out.
Right. So we talked last
time. And this guy always seems to have a positive attitude. Like when you talk to him, if I was to just take his conversation and just record it and not tell anybody that this is a guy who's behind bars,
right,
talking to me without any hope of ever getting out of prison.
That's amazing.
His son died a couple of years ago while he was locked up, and he wasn't even able to go and go to his funeral. He's been through every kind of horror. He's a diabetic. He's been denied medicine. He's been beat up. I mean, he's a good guy and he helps other people too. But when you listen to him, you never know he was locked up.
Well, it sounds like the man accepted his fate.
He's
comfortable with it.
He's dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know, and then you talk to people that are free and out here, and you would think they were locked up.
Right.
Oh my God, you know this and that, all
Well,
these
look at the
things.
fear that's fighting through communities.
A lot of fear.
Yeah.
And so
Baseless fear also. It's really just sensationalism, misinformation.
a lot of that. And we live in some really interesting times right now. And
Common sense will go a long way.
yeah, I wish I could make a common sense bomb, like, and I get it in the nicest way, like I could just sit there and do an airburst over a town, and all of a sudden, you know, these stupid things we do seem stupid because it would not make sense, right? You know, if you look at some crazy crap like, okay, this whole coronavirus thing, I don't want to pay too much attention to it because,
Right.
you know, there's a lot of worse
There's
things out there that are
energy.
hurting us a lot worse than that. But you know, government that has access to all the wealth of the world, literally. I mean, our government is big and strong, has everything it needs, right? And it could have just stopped at the second it felt its people were threatened. That means all of the people, right? And said, whoa, we got to stop this. We got to change everything, direct resources. Let's get the brightest minds we have in the world. Let's all bring together and have a 3-4 a week convention to figure out a good plan, a global plan. Let's figure this thing out. But that's not what happened. No. One country did this, and one country did that, and our government kept bickering and said, we're going to do this, and then, no, you're not going to do that. And only today, supposedly, they're supposed to be working some stuff out that in weeks from now will begin to get implemented.
That's amazing.
Now, you got to wonder, what if some of these elected officials were personally at risk, like really at risk? Think they might have moved a little faster?
Seems to be. I mean, now they're getting more infected every day. There's so many.
Yeah.
It's all in a sense of those kind of caught them off guard.
Hopefully what's going to come of all this is they're going to learn to be better equipped. So the same thing.
Isn't it amazing how we went into a reduction of the services and equipment that we actually need now?
Oh yeah.
And there was already a foresight that we would eventually have a pandemic of some viral.
Absolutely. Not like this isn't coming. Of course, we've got things all throughout America, throughout world history.
Right.
You know, there's never been a shortage of a plague.
Ebola should have been warning.
Absolutely, and there's a lot more deadly this thing going on. But meanwhile, Meanwhile, everything is trudging along, and we have this world of information that we live in now. Okay? And so, you think back to the plagues of the world, right? We've had the Spanish flu, we had the Black Plague,
Right.
that was literally just wiped out so many people, and there's been all these other
Family.
let's not even get into family. Like, you want to talk about some real problems, it's not funny, because I've been really studying history a lot in the last couple of years, and world history. And the worst thing that's ever happened in all of history throughout the Dark Ages and before was always famine.
Well, it's going to be what's remarkable about this experience, that it is a famine. There's a toilet paper famine. And it's striking all of North America.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess go try to find some in the stores today. People won't. But the reality is in this world that we live in today, and imagine what the world would be like if there was information shared as it is today, if it was in the past. And reading just today about some of the great plagues of the world and the famines of the Dark Ages and before, in the early civilized history, and people literally were so hungry that they were eating each other.
Yeah.
I mean, cannibalism is not an unusual thing in world history. Recently, it's pretty unusual, right?
Outside of the crash in the Andes.
Yeah, but that's what was a really unique experience.
Oh, yeah.
This was a thing where whole villages, whole communities are like dying and starving, and anything come along, and whatever. And just imagine, we live in a world now where we can grow food so plentiful, so easily, that nobody really needs to go hungry today in the whole world.
No, we can be passive or apathetic or
I totally agree.
Get in dirt and start making things happen.
I totally agree, and that's part of what this whole solution thing is. So think about this. We're in a situation right now where most of the cases that we support, so the position has been supporting cases, cannabis cases all across the world for 10 years now, and we have currently, I don't know, a dozen cases in the United States that we're supporting. Most of them, if not all of them, are on hold. Of course, aren't trying cases right now. Okay, so that says, well, we don't have that to do. That gives all the defendants a break. In some ways, it's not good because they just want to be done with it. That's one of the things that when you're going through a case, you just want to be over.
Yeah.
But at least you get a little bit of time. You don't have to worry about anything happening to you at this moment. Then we got the prisoners, and so I showed you this one prisoner, Craig. But we have a number of prisoners that we're working with and supporting right now. At this moment, the government is looking at releasing a bunch of people because of the pandemic issue and the susceptibility of elderly people. And so many of our pod prisoners that we support right now are in that category, over 60 years old. And
so what makes it really, really dangerous is the contagious factor, how contagious it is, how easily spread. In those environments or in communities where people have poor health or retired communities, so nursing homes especially, as we've seen in Spain and Italy. However, though, our communities are much healthier here in the United States. In Italy, 98% of the people there had underlying health issues.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that people are starting to talk about more is most of the people that are dying from this thing, they're not dying just from it. But the deal is they're in prison. It's an enclosed environment, and it's easy to be not healthy in prison. And so what I'm getting to here is that maybe there's a chance that we could take some of the extra time we have, because there's a lot of people not working right now. There's a lot of people staying home and being safe, whatever it is you're doing. But what if we were to take it and connect up with some of these prisoners and reach out to your government and say, hey, this person here is highly at risk of being affected by this pandemic, and they're a nonviolent drug offender that has served a ridiculous long time already, and maybe this would be a good time to let them out.
I think that's the most responsible thing. Really, the attention should be not just the underserved, but the people that are critical. They have no choice, and the prisoners need our support right now to encourage the federal legislators, the decision makers, to do the right decision and let these guys out, especially if they're have health conditions or they're older. You know, it's why would you trap them? You know, like that.
Exactly. So we're hoping that some of you, the listeners, would want to engage some of these things, and we have a lot of ways to reach out to us. thsint.org is our website, and there's a number of like-minded groups that we work with that are also looking for prisoners. There's a lot of ways to reach out and get that information, but I know on our website we do have how to reach out, and we would encourage you to do that. Exactly.
Like your representatives.
Exactly.
Maybe,
So
maybe we can get a petition. Someone can get a petition going.
there's a number of petitions that are going right now, and these are one of the things that we can do too is bring them together and make them available. And specifically requesting this. We have a prisoner right now. His name is Michael Thompson. And here, let me quickly see if I can grab his information. Michael, we've been working with Michael for a long time here. Here he is, Michael Thompson. Now, Michael is currently being held in state prison in Muskegon, Michigan. Okay. Now, Michigan is a place where they have passed laws that say you can recreationally and medically have cannabis. They have stores, they have legal grows, they have all of this stuff. And yet Michael Thompson is currently serving, he's been in prison for over 20 years. Okay, and he's going to die in prison if we don't get him out. And we're working really hard behind the scenes, D.D. Kirkwood and a number of people that we work with are working really hard behind the scenes to help get him out. But this weekend, Michael got sick. He's a diabetic, and he found himself on the edge of a diabetic coma. And this is happening in prison where everybody's been out already. He couldn't get any kind of care at all. Wow. And then finally, on Monday, he was able to see a doctor, and he's still, really on the edge. Now, Dee Dee's done some behind the scenes work and connected with a state representative that was able to have some influence on this and get him seen by a doctor. But at the end of the day, now would be that perfect time. The governor of Michigan could let him know. Like right now, today, could just say, okay, you're out.
Especially with the health condition. I mean,
especially with the health condition. With
With
all of these things going on, and Michael's a nonviolent offender. He's been a model prisoner. He's done everything. Well, served way beyond what would be a reasonable sentence for his.
Well, it's not just Michael too; it's his family, his friends.
Oh, absolutely.
The community that he comes from. These are real people that, like our brothers or sisters or cousins, they're part of society.
Exactly.
And we need to advocate for them. We need to support
exactly.
them. Their quest for freedom. Really, it's very simple.
So this is another situation that, again, if you find yourself a little extra time, there'd be a perfect opportunity. We just had Danny Trevino out of Michigan, who just got sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. Just
Lee Trevino's brother? No,
I don't think so. Yeah. No, I don't think they're related, but nonetheless, the name is, it caught your attention, at the end of the day, Danny Trevino is currently in federal prison right now, and he ain't getting out for,
What's another name that goes on the wall? It's an injustice.
It's a huge injustice.
You need to seek freedom.
And
Danny Trevino.
Yeah, and this just happened And this is a guy who actually was running a state legal dispensary.
I would suggest that we should pray for these people.
Big
too.
time.
You know, we would unify that part so that we're praying for their well-being and their freedom. And it's a very, very powerful force.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because, you know, now I want to transition into the walk for change, because the walk for change is essentially a big prayer,
Yeah,
you know, and you know, a lot of people,
everything good begins with a prayer.
it's all, everything we do is a prayer, you know, and hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully you're
Well,
praying
you
to.
have to reverence, you
It
know, and
is.
thankfulness. And when you combine these elements of plant, crystal, animal at times, just
So-
pray with others.
Exactly.
It's
So
what makes it powerful.
with the walk for change, right now, I've got a lot of people that are concerned,
Mm.
because there's a lot of, you know, fears out there, and there's a lot of excitement about what's happening. And we're going to be
Right.
coming from here, going to there, and there's going to be all these people and these.
There really shouldn't be fear though, because you're simply that and you know, once you really educate yourself on this subject, there's not much that's not unknown. It's a known virus.
Well,
Certainly things that we can do to take care of ourselves.
and what we know is that we can overcome,
Yes.
and we know that when it comes down to it, our will to make change is the thing that's going to power this walk for change. Is that we really want these changes that we're talking about. It's not like, oh, you know, we should change this thing. It's like, no, this is really, I want to see this world. I can see this world where this plant can grow without it being a crime. I want to see a world where the only reason why you're homeless is because you don't want to live in a home. I can see a world where it doesn't matter where you came from or what color your skin is, what your last name is, or where you came from. None of that, because nobody cares. It's just, you're just a person.
Right.
I want to live in that world.
Much of it's common sense. You know, there are so many things that are just out of balance that, you know, to seek the natural change or natural balance, that's unquestionably probably the best thing we can all do. But you're becoming one force, and you're able to create that change consciously. Because change is a consciousness of what is out of order, and your conscious ability to bring change is just that.
You know, the change starts here.
Yep.
And you know, it's funny because when people are complaining and people are fearful and they're chaotic and they're angry and they're depressed and all the things that humans get easily for the most part, when you are that way, you're creating an environment for that to be.
Sure.
And if we train ourselves, and sometimes it takes training, sometimes it comes naturally, to be happy, to be hopeful, to be thoughtful, to be reverent, to be joyful, to you know, see the good things we want to see them in our minds, to look for the good in things. You know, all of those things we can do just as easy as we can be afraid and angry and down and all of those. And I think that that's part of the power of this walk for change, is that we're spending time looking at the world we want to see and talking about those things and talking about getting together to have an action that goes from the Pacific Ocean all the way to the Atlantic Ocean and connecting everything and everybody all the way from that part over there to that part over there. And there's all these things and issues that connect us all, right?
Yes.
And we all have basic needs, and we all have basic
So hugely symbolic, but yet physically also is an accomplishment.
oh, I think this is
There
great.
you go.
What's calling from? And in data, a federal prison. This call is being recorded and is subject to monitoring. Hang up to the call. Or accept.
Chris Cecil, how are you doing today?
Hello, Joe. There's no lockdown
Wow. I'm actually surprised. I had a lot of people that have been very concerned about you and a number of the other inmates that we haven't heard much from lately. And I started the shows and I didn't know if we were going to hear from you today, but I'm glad we are. So tell us how you're doing out there.
Well, I can give you a little update on what's going on in the Bureau of Prisons.
Sure.
What they've done in light of the coronavirus is, in order to cut down on, inmates gathering together in groups and all that, we no longer go to the food service to eat our food. We go one cell block at a time. We grab our food in a styrofoam tray and bring it back eating ourselves. So that way it keeps us from all sitting together in the chow hall. Granted, it leaves us standing in the line all together, but this is the federal government. There's no more visits allowed from our families or from our lawyers. There's been a bunch of other changes. All the staff has to go through getting their temperatures checked and all that before they come in. And there seems to be a big fear that if any one of other staff or inmates, is tested positive for that virus, they're going to lock the prison down for 30 days. So that's really our fear right now. But what I could say in a positive note is to make up for our visits, we're typically allowed 300 minutes a month on the telephone. And of course, each call is put into 15 minutes, and we can make, we have to wait at least 30 minutes between making a phone call. That's to break it up so everybody has an opportunity. But now they've allowed us to make 200 minutes each, which has just made the lines for the phones for the buses. There's 4 phones shared by 130 guys. And you figure that the phones are used for about 6 hours a day. So the lines can be pretty long nowadays.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you were able to make it in for this one. I'm sure they've got lots of sanitizer by those phones, Tom.
No, they did have sanitize our hands and different things along the corridors for 2 days. And then they quit doing it. So there's no sanitizers on the phones. There's no sanitizers on the email terminals. It lasted 2 days. And what I really think is a lot of the containers, the hand sanitizer and the wipes, I think they left it in people's backpacks that they bring in with their lunches.
Yeah.
Just pallet after pallet after pallet of those just disappeared in 2 days.
Well, you know what? They're not at the grocery store either. So the fact that you had them for a while, I can't go to the store and buy them today. They're not on anybody's shelves. It's crazy. So yeah, it seems like for sure, people were taking advantage of that. That's nuts.
Pretty cool.
It's definitely a cause for concern in a place where the environment is so closed in. That would certainly warrant some. Now, I understand that the federal government is looking at possibly releasing people that are considered to be at risk, elderly folks and some of the nonviolent folks. So I just got through explaining to the listeners that now might be a perfect opportunity to reach out to your representatives and anybody who might have any influence, specifically to address any and all of them that we support as certainly being nonviolent, and many of them being aged folks that would be highly at risk if there was to be some kind of a outbreak in one of these cell blocks of prisons.
Right, unfortunately, as you know, we are crammed in pretty tightly together. Our diet isn't that great. Something like that pandemic, if it did get into the prison, it would spread wildly. In my cell block, like I say, there's I think it's 64 cells, and 4 of the cells have big signs on them how that they've been quarantined.
Wow.
And what I really believe is that they took out guys that were in them, and I think it was primarily due to a high fever. So remember, this is the flu season, you know, and sometimes there's some pretty evil colds this time of year. So that's what it seems to be, because there hasn't been a coronavirus in this prison, and there was only two patients. In the whole Vigo County, Indiana, where the prison is located. And those people had come from out of town.
Well, you know, I've heard that gargling with salt water is really effective at killing all kinds of bugs. And, you know, salt's pretty readily available wherever most people are. And literally just take a tablespoon of salt, put it in a cup of water, and gargle in back of your throat for 20 minutes. And just that alone can, you know, prevent a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping that people are using, you know, simple tools that they can, you know, to keep that stuff off you if you can.
I've heard that as well. And that there's several things. They even mentioned that light exercise is good because it depletes some sort of enzyme in your body. Usually sends out some sort of other enzyme to make up for it. And that enzyme is really good at fighting coronavirus. So
Absolutely.
I've heard a lot of different things.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You know, I just produced a new product that's an immune boosting elixir. I wish I could send it to you, but you know, there's all kinds of things that if you just look and you know, you study what kind of things help out your health, and a little simple exercise, and trying to find some fresh fruit, or you know, get some vitamin C into your body, and is always a plus. And then of course, you know, things like that, keeping your hands clean, and you know, gargling with salt water, that kind of thing can be real helpful. Too bad we couldn't get a sage stick in there and do a smudge around your place.
That we can. But you know, we can get hold of some salt from time to time. They serve it in the chow hall, though we can buy some shaker.
Well,
So that is a help. A lot of guys are just worried about their families out on the street and things like that. You know, one guy I just spoke to a little while ago is a Puerto Rican guy from New York City, and New York City is really badly, you know, here recently by the virus.
yeah, apparently New York has got more than 50% of the cases in the U.S. And you know, I'm sure it's because everybody's so stacked together so closely more than anything. But for whatever reason, that's definitely where most of the cases are coming from. But you know, even still, historically, if you were to look at the amount of cases of the flu, and even the people that die from flu or other kinds of colds and whatever, I still frankly don't think that what this is causing as much death and destruction as it's given credit for. But the thing that it does have is it's pretty aggressive growing and spreading. So its propensity to do that for weak people that are susceptible, that's where the big problem comes from, I think.
Right, unfortunately, they think that the coronavirus being a new one. There's some people around, as with the flu, that will have a natural immunity. So if you expose a group of people, a higher percentage of them will come down with it, and will come down with the flu if they were exposed. So
Yep.
unfortunately, that's scary, especially in the prison where there's 960 something of us all crammed together.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, it's changing a lot of things. It's changing the way people are doing business. It's changing the way people are communicating. Even in the post office. I was just in the post office today, and there's a sign saying everybody's got to stand 6 feet apart. And I waited in line to mail some packages, and I got up to the counter, and the lady at the counter said, "Okay, put the package down and step away, past the green line." And there was literally a green line of tape on the floor. And so I had to step back past it before she would step up towards the package. And then she weighed the packages and figured out how much it was, told me, and then stepped back. And then I had to put the money down on the counter. And then she took the money and gave me change and put the receipt on the thing. And she stepped back and I stepped forward. And I was like, wow, you know, it's everybody's all in the same room. Everybody's touching these packages, but you know, it's a lot of weird things happening right now. But you know what is happening is we got all this electronic communication now, and we're putting together electronic meetings, video conferences, and things like that. So our walk for change is going to continue on, and we're adapting and adjusting right now. We're figuring out the best way to organize people, regardless of what happens. You know, it may very well be that, you know, they might even postpone the general election. We end up leaving a little later than we were going to. Or it may be that, you know, we all walk 10 feet apart. Or it may be that we have a bunch of smaller events that, you know, are complementing this walk. And we have a whole lot of virtual video engagement and, you know, somewhat smaller personal appearances. I don't know how it's specifically going to play out, but it's still growing and gaining steam, and we're still making these changes. So we're still going to be walking, we're still going to be passing across your pal, and you know, we're committed to making this happen.
Well, I'm hoping that people are trying to, keep their distances, be very smart about this. So my hope is that it'll peak in the next week or so, and then start trailing off in April, whereby maybe people can feel safe.
Well, our commander in chief is talking about Easter as the big day, so that gives us a couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens. And I say that a little bit tongue in cheek, but you know what? I'm the eternal optimist. I'm like one of these really goofy guys who always says there's a way for it to work. I just know it. And I just, as daunting as this might seem to other people, I firmly believe in the resolve of humanity and our ability and really our will to make the changes we want to see and get through whatever comes our way. You know, we're remarkably resilient and we can recover from anything. I think that's what we're going to do.
I agree. I agree. I think we're going to come through this. There's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of how soon. And I think people are inspired to make it sooner rather than later. As we've seen, it seems like most of China is over the hump. South Korea is over the hump. Taiwan is over the hump. Hopefully our hump, like I said, hopefully it's going to be the next week and things will only get better.
Well, you know, the good news is you know, the hit that the economy's taken with this is a superficial hit. It's not, there wasn't a flood that wiped out, you know, the infrastructure. There was an earthquake. There wasn't a war where we have to rebuild Europe. It's literally the power got turned off for a few days. We turn it back on and get back to work. Well, Craig, here's your first beep. I want to make sure you've got time to finish your thoughts before we get cut off. And so I'm going to turn it back to you.
Well, I would like to ask the listeners to do reach out to your congressmen, to your senators, to your representatives, and make a point that prisons are dangerous places when there's a pandemic around. I mean, just prisoners are very, very susceptible. And there's a lot of people out here. I'm 60 years old, a first-time offender, serving life for a marijuana charge, and maybe we Americans have to look at, why are we putting people like me in danger of their life? Which is a lot worse than I'm actually in prison for. Right. And maybe we have to look at.
So take note of what just happened there, okay?
That's incredible.
Craig Cecil, a man who is facing not only a sentence that puts him in a spot where he's never going to get out of prison unless we do something about it.
Yeah, but also death.
He's also facing potentially this disease that's creeping into his place.
At the expense of the taxpayer.
All of it at the expense of the taxpayer for a nonviolent drug offense. And listen to his voice. He was upbeat, he was calm, he was positive. He's a rational, thoughtful individual, and I just wish that we could.
I wish there was more people with that level-headedness in all of our society.
Exactly.
It exists. It really doesn't.
All right, now we have another special guest. George Martirano's on the line right now, and Becca is screening through the calls, but I recognize George's number here, so I'm just going to go ahead and supersede this and bring him on. George Martirano, a longtime friend of the show, friend of the organization, lifetime member of the Human Solution International. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you today?
Hey, how you doing? Hope everything's all right. Everything's going well out there. Trying to get out there in the month of April, miss everybody, and what can I say? We're living through some dire times, historic, and I like to share stories that if I may tell.
Yes, please.
A little since some years back, and I've been 32 plus years in prison. I lost all the business I've been in. Just the virus and solitary kept moving me around, which was illegal. But anyway, I remember one year, I don't know, it was in the 90s something, and the prison had a very big flu influenza epidemic at the prison. I mean, it got so big, people were jumping over, come down, and the fact that, so what they do, they just lock you in your cell. You come around, they come out early in the morning, say, you okay? And they just give you some little home pack or anything. Anyway, this went on for a while. All of a sudden, cars left in the union, pulled them out, or whatever. And it took a day and a half, ladies and gentlemen, that are listening to the show. A day and a half before keep their meals, and one was the National Guard. Three soldiers to every cell block, and multiple 2 regular cell blocks. Anyway, so I did it in the entire situation where I look out my prison door, and guys were taken away, stretchers during this, and this prison was wiped out from influenza, and I never seen them anymore. Stretchers is a small portion. It's very, very, very scary. How we can coronavirus, the only thing to do is lock in. They're not going to be effective prisoners, prison. And now it's on the news that the president is letting some people out, which is good, but again, they're not addressing the severe maximum security penitentiaries in the Fed. So, right now, I'm almost scattered right now that penitentiaries are going on because they're going to say, well, we have nothing coming. They're not going to let us out. We're here to die. We've got bad situations, not only for the prisoners, but for the staff. Just because you work at a prison, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. But I get through it at a small scale where, when the virus is prison. And I got a friend in New York that's going through it. So I lived it firsthand. Believe me when I say I lived it firsthand.
Well, we just got off the phone with Craig Cecil, who's serving life for in prison for life, just like you were doing, and he said that they're testing the guards and the staff, and they're checking them for their temperatures, and if anybody brings it in, that they're going to lock the place down for 30 days is their plan so far. But Nobody's caught anything yet, and they've locked down a few cells because somebody got a fever. You know, like you said, this is time of year when people get sick anyways, generally. So, you know, out of an abundance of caution, he said that they had actually some hand washing stations for 2 days, but then that was all gone. The hand sanitizer all disappeared, and you know, they don't know where all the pallets of materials probably slipped in the guards' backpacks and whatnot.
The sheriff in one of the U.S. towns was caught with FEMA supplies, and instead of going to the sheriff department, he took it back home to his community and handed out all the masks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, George, we're going to keep on keeping on, and you know, this message of positivity, and you know, letting people realize that the people that are locked up right now, we cannot forget about them. We need to be vigilant and keep pushing forward so that, you know, we can have a world where the only people that are locked up are people that are a danger to society. You know, that's what prisons were built for, and somehow we lost sight of that, turned them into a big business. And I just don't think that it needs to be that way.
Yeah. That's torture.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, George, that's a good thing, and
Yeah.
that's good. That's funny. I love it. I'm curious to see how she turns out. I like it. All right, George. Well, exactly. Thank you so much for checking in. He is doing wonderful work. She's on the line listening, but she is actually. You know what I'm gonna do, George? I'm gonna put Dee Dee on just for 1 second here, so she can talk to you directly. Dee Dee Kirkwood, I have got you on the line with George Martirano. What do you say to that? Dee Dee, are you there? She might have walked away from her phone. Oh well, yep, absolutely. I thought I had her there. Oh, hold on. I just put you back up. Give me 1 sec. I'll put you back on. There we go. All right, Dee Dee and George, you're in the room together.
Thanks for everything that you do in that conscious of fellowship, and it just brings down everybody to come together for the show in this one moment. So we love, thank you so much for being part of everybody and everything, George.
I was going to call you today, forgive me, I'm delivering, I'm actually delivering my money all over the city, delivering orders because so many people are only physically healing. They can't come out, so I started delivering from late in the morning, I just finished an hour ago. And people delivering 50 people have some peace, because they're all staying in it. But I was going to call you today, I'm sorry I did, but I'm going to get out there soon. I'm going to get out there soon.
Okay, we love you, George. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you guys both real soon. Dee Dee Kirkwood and George Martirano. All right, here we're gonna. I don't see Tom Kirby on the line, and we've only got a few minutes of the show. And I need to see Tom Kirby on the line if he's going to be able to talk. So I see Donna's there, and I see Frank's there. So if you guys can make sure Tom calls in, I can make sure and bring him in. But we're going to close the show down at 6 o'clock, and we got 3 minutes. So we got 3 minutes, Charles. I want to bring this up because I think it's really important. One of the things that brought us together is the Walk for Change. One of the things that brought us together is medicine, plant medicine, the stone medicine, energy medicine, earth medicine, all the things that we have in common. But one of the issues that we're walking for is an issue that brought you to me is this generational disaster that's happening out in San Carlos, Arizona.
Yeah.
And I just want to, give you a couple of minutes to just talk about that just for a second as you see fit. Just to bring to our attention one of the reasons we're walking, one of the reasons that we're getting together. And it's not just these ethereal things, it's not just these big fundamental things, but some of these are very specific disasters that have happened and need to be dealt with.
Well, it's an ongoing crisis like the federal prison issue, very much the same. Only it has to do with the Native American reservation, which actually is a form of concentration camp. So we were already confined, and of course it wasn't us, it was our grandparents. However, in that context, in the 50s and 60s, our reservation was used as a testing ground for the chlorinated isotopes that are herbicides and pesticides. And so before Agent Orange, it was known as Silvex, which is far more toxic in its content of dioxin than actually Agent Orange, is what we're finding out. And steeped history of just testing storages that have never been historically addressed. And so we're bringing forward water issues that really affect more than our community, that are extenuating to the state and even far beyond, that go into the Colorado River and out to the ocean. So very much like the Mississippi issue with some of the runoffs from the fields agriculture and how it's dead zones, the Gulf of Texas. This is very much a very similar thing, but much more toxic as one of the hot spots, I guess you could say, in the world. And it's a concern for this whole state of Arizona, probably California, northern Mexico. So we're bringing some attention to that. It's been established as a Superfund site for herbicides. And so all the discovery in these, it's been established, yeah, that's what it is. It's there. Now we're dealing with providing intervention for clean water, food, and nutrition, which is what this whole movement of health is about. And so we're joining that walk, and not only to our issue, but support these other issues that are very important that Joe has brought forward to. They're underserved. There's no real salvation or patriots or the goodwill is not there to see that work you're doing. So it's a very, very deep honor to be able to come and work alongside and assist in anything that we can do.
Well, in establishing the People's Chapter of the Human Solution International, this is going to bring together issues that are central to certain groups.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that is, prevalent on many of the reservations is this specific problem, but there's ecological problems in many of these places. They've used these places as all kinds of problematic situations.
Well, the Apache Nation is where they got much of the uranium mining, so the open dumps there, and on and on and on.
It goes on. So bringing this all together, bringing the people together, bringing the awareness and raising up
Water
the
is life.
community. Water is life.
What
What are we going to do with when all our water's gone?
Yeah, it's required for all of these things.
For everything.
For the medicines, the food, that we're working with, so.
Just see what happens when you don't have water for a while.
Right.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
I
So
end up like a prune myself.
as this show is growing its audience and people are becoming aware, there's probably thousands of people that are hearing about this for the first time. Maybe this has touched some people in a way that they say, whoa, what? I want to look this up. I want to learn more about it. How do they get hold of you, or how do they learn more?
You can contact us through the Chiricahua website. It's the ChiricahuaApache.org, and or through the San Carlos Apache Chamber of Commerce, sancarlosapache.com. Just send us an email to any of those things. It's really an expensive issue because of the environmental concerns that many people and families have. Obviously there's a lot of let's just say health disorders that we all have concerns with, and they're directly related with chemical toxins exposures. Everything from Ms. Brockovich to back east, some of the docks and contamination, radioactivity, heavy metals, and all these environmental concerns can be addressed, and it really just takes some care. So phytoremediations using natural plants to detoxify the earth. And so we're exploring these options and solutions as we also develop a very nutritional base and being able to grow and provide food for ourselves and medicine.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we generally do a 2-hour, 1-hour show, but we're gonna, because of other things we have going on, we're gonna do this 1-hour show. It looks like Tom Corby slid in at the last second. He's being screened right now. I want to encourage everybody. We have 30+ chapters of the Human Solution International, and we're being told by the government, we need to keep apart. Well, I have one finger that generally addresses those kind of things, and it's my biggest one. Just in case you want to know which one it is. But the truth is, it's not to be flippant, not to be, I recognize that there are dangers, and that people going around and being around a lot of people and then going and visiting other people. Hell, my daughter was exposed to the virus, and now my granddaughter stayed with me for a week because, we want to avoid this. I don't let people into my house the way I used to, and normally I've been very, eager to have people in my house. So
I've been refraining from getting in any proximity to politicians.
Well, you live out in the middle of nowhere, and I live out in the middle of nowhere, so the odds of us having issues are less than most. So, anyways, I got Tom Corby on the line. Tom Corby is a man who met 7 years ago while traveling through California on the way back from Montana, where we went. We took a bus trip all the way to Montana because the guy was being sentenced for fraud. Oh. And so we spent a week, 10 days on the road in this bus, and we more or less thumbed our way. We had no money, we had no food, we had nothing, and we just did it out of a Hail Mary. And we had a few people that sponsored the trip, and we'd stop along the way, and people would feed us, and they throw some dollars in the gas tank, and we did it. We made it there and back. And on the way back, I met Tom Corby, who was going through a case at the time, and he put us up, this whole bus of people. He opened his home to us and fed us and took care of us, and that's where I met him. And we opened up NorCal chapter, which was one of our very first chapters. And Tom has been instrumental in helping people all over Northern and Central California since I've known him, and consider him certainly a brother from another mother. Mr. Tom Corey, welcome to the show.
Right now, sort of as a pandemic, like I talked on a radio show last week, and panic over it. I'm going to say it again. I'm 57 years old. I've been told I should even go to the grocery store. Even if I get this virus, I really feel that I'm going to nail it like I have all these years. For the simple reason that I try to keep my immune system strong. How do we do that again? There's off fruits and vegetables, and these fruits and vegetables, hopefully they're organic. They're full of vitamins and minerals that your body needs, especially vitamin C. I was thankful we have a lemon tree.
It's got great lemons too.
Mm.
Yes, water lemon is something I do daily, even a line a year.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
I find that even though they're acidic, they hit the body, they alkalize. So let's say all of these don't really live in an acid environment. This is proven not only holistically, but scientifically. So we alkalize our body, fruits and vegetables, and I've heard almost alkalizing. We can help get out the acid disease state. Of course, it's so necessary, as hard as it is for all of us, and we're still learning. We don't want to be throwing rocks. I'm not going to be throwing first stone. He said we should have, they should have. Look at Italy. All right. Right now, I feel that we're doing the best we can. That's what the Americans do. We put our politics aside. This is not left, right. Republicans, Democrats, we're all coming together. The whole world must come together here, put our riches aside, and help those that need the help the most, and of course help ourselves stay clean. Hygiene is so important right now. Stay isolated. I believe this virus can stay in the air for 3 hours. It can stay on metal for days. So we keep our hands around. We wash our hands, hot soap and water. And there's also talk about not drinking cold stuff right now. Even your meals. Have you heard that too, Joe?
Say again?
Well, to drink more warm water and even warm food right now.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than cold. This virus can't live in a temperature of over 80 degrees. So they say go out in the sun, go out in the fresh air, and even hot showers, wash your clothes more often. And all these things we can do and share with other people. I know, especially the kids now, they're not taking it as serious as they should be. And what they're doing is bringing home to the grand folks. The one deck department. So all your kids out there, these kids here are getting a message here and they're passing it on. This must be taken very seriously. All the since I've been through war, all these years, I never thought I'd see the day that the whole world could possibly shut down. So we learned to live at home. We grow our own. Not only our cabbage, we grow fruits and vegetables, and we learn to survive. Life's not now survival anyway. It's not easy out here, folks. It's a rough, tough road to hold sometimes, each and every day. So we all must come together now, stand our ground. Together we stand and take the best care of ourselves. I think about the prisoners. There's a lot of the, I say no victim, no crime. They shouldn't be in there anyway. They're not letting prisoners out now, which is good, and especially non-violent prisoners, of course, which is good too. So, and don't forget to breathe. That also helps. I'm indoors a lot. I have a station reminder that I get on. I need to go on, get on it to keep my heart strong, my blood pressure down. It also helps get through the getting plenty of exercise, lots of water, fresh air, sunshine. I just hope that helps some folks out there. I wanted to listen to anything that will help get us through this. We just think we will. I want to take everybody today as always. And again, don't forget to breathe. Thank you all today.
All right, thank you so much.
You want to,
No, I think we're gonna end it nice and smooth and easy today. So I appreciate being here as always, and we're gonna wrap her up and get into looking at the next week already. So Tom Corby, always a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you soon.
okay, that'd be great.
All right, we'll talk to you very soon. All right, Tom Corby, folks.
All right.
All right, everybody, it's been a good show. I appreciate Charles for coming out here and joining us, sharing a few words, and as we're building this people's chapter, we're going to be spending more and more time together, figuring out the ways to reach out to the people that need the help and make ourselves available to the people that want to help, maybe even as important or more. All right, that's it for today, folks. Let's see what old Willie Nelson has to say about it all, and we'll speak.
Supporting countless prisoners because so much
go to
jail for a whack. You were always on.
Thank you for using the tool. Goodbye.
All right, that's it, folks. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week.